Hello and welcome back to part 2 of Seen South TV's Easter special.
Now, as we all know, Easter is the time for chocolate, eggs and indulgence. However, if you end up overindulging a little bit too much, joining us here in the studio we have the beautiful Heather Langley, aerodynamic yoga instructor. Hello, Heather.
Hi Heather, welcome to the studio.
Hello, thank you.
First question, an obvious one. What's the difference between aerodynamic yoga and more traditional yoga?
Okay, so all yoga really focuses on awareness, and that's awareness not just of physical movement but also of the mental activity, the thoughts, even speech. But then aerodynamic yoga is really looking at reducing drag, making us less resistant to movement. So really looking at energy efficiency and making us have more energy, sort of looking at maximising our energy potential. So, yeah.
Now I understand you're the founder of aerodynamic
Yes.
yoga, so how did you get into it?
Well, believe it or believe it not, I studied yoga, I studied dynamic yoga, I studied in Barcelona, and at that time I'd also just started watching Formula One. And through my interest in watching Formula One and their study of aerodynamics, I started relating how their study of how the car was performing into what exactly I was doing on the yoga mat.
Now, you're going to be showing us some moves, aren't you? Some of these yoga
sure.
moves, well, I'm a bit nervous about this, so shall we check it out?
Okay. So then the element of downforce, as Sir Isaac Newton, I don't know if you're familiar with the name.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay, so he was a scientist and he described the fact that in nature, one force in one direction will produce an equal or opposite force in the opposite direction. So the whole idea of downforce is that you press your feet into the mat and then you should get that energy back up. Okay, so all of a sudden you start to feel that your legs are quite energetic because you're pressing your feet into the mat as if you were pressing the floor away. Okay, so I want you to keep that down force in your left foot, okay, and then just take the right foot over and place it on your calf muscle.
Okay.
Can you do that?
Yep.
It doesn't have to be, the knee doesn't have to be pointing outwards, you can have the knee in front if you want to. Okay, but just keep that down force in there. And then if you want to, you can bring the knee to the front, keep the down force in the left foot, raise the knee up, take the foot away from the leg. Ooh. Keep pressing the foot. Keep that racing line. Good. And stretch the foot out if you want to. Good, there you go.
You can feel it, like that pressing into the floor really grounds you.
It really helps you. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then take the foot back.
I can imagine it's quite toning as well.
Very toning, yeah, because you are working all of those muscles. You're working, the idea is that you're working the muscles that you should be working to produce an efficient movement, an energy efficient movement, as opposed to, you know, sort of wobbling all over the place and
just focusing those muscles. And in terms of sort of our viewers out there that are interested in burning calories and using yoga to increase flexibility and weight loss and stuff, this is going to help? Obviously.
Definitely, absolutely, because we use other aspects as well. We synchronise movement with the breath, so you know you really get a very good workout as well through doing any kind of yoga practice.
So it's almost like an evolved traditional yoga. You've just put your own spin on stuff.
I mean, even you know, if you look nowadays, if you go onto the web, there are so many different styles and trends coming into it. Most of them coming from America, but yeah, so many different trends. So you know,
you know, it's nice to have someone fighting our side as well.
Absolutely.
You know, when it comes to the yoga trends.
Happy to.
Now, when it comes to your classes, you run these. Whereabouts can we find those?
So we're at Marie Claire Pilates Studios. That's off Padwell Road, off the Inner Avenue in central Southampton.
I feel like I've learned quite a bit there.
We'll be doing this later, won't we?
Absolutely. Now, I'm certainly going to keep doing my aerodynamic moves to keep me in shape. And if you want to catch one of Heather's classes yourself, or even book one to go along to one of the sessions, you can find those at www.aerodynamicyoga.com.
Now, if all this exercise has you craving something a bit naughty, don't worry. We've got Mark Dennis, head chef of Southampton Banana Wharf, showing us how to make some scrumptious desserts.
Yum.
Hello, welcome to another Antonio's Kitchen Corner with me, Antonio, and this time we are actually in the kitchen. Last month we were enjoying some drinks down in Shenanigans, and today I've got Mark from Banana Wharf. Mark, thank you for joining us here today, and now you're going to cook us some desserts, which I'm really looking forward to.
I am.
Tell me, what 3 desserts are you going to be doing for us?
I'm going to do a chocolate brownie, a crepe and banoffee pie, all of which feature on the menu at the restaurant. Right, first step is to melt some butter and sugar together. 4 eggs going into the bowl there, and then in with the eggs goes some dark chocolate. Right, I'm going to sift together some flour and some cocoa powder. Right, I'm going to add that in with the egg and the chocolate. And then finally into that flour and cocoa powder. That has to be just sort of folded gently in. If you mix it too hard, you knock all the air out of it. You can dip a finger in it if you really want to.
Yeah. Oh, that's quite a big one. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Finally, we put some milk and white chocolate chips in there as well. Okay. And you can use any size tray you like, really. And that needs to go in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes on about 180 degrees, which is about gas mark number 4. So a little bit of melted chocolate over the top of there. Let's have a try. If you,
this is what I've been looking forward to the most. Guys, I wish you could try this in the studio because it's absolutely amazing. So, get yourself down to Banana Wolf. Happy Easter.
Now, if you're not too confident in the kitchen or you want to occupy your kids in this half term, we have with us the lovely Julie Tucker, and she's going to show us some ways to get creative this Easter.
Hi Julie, welcome to the show.
Hello, happy to be here.
And now, you're from Ashcroft Art Centre in Fareham, and you're going to show us how to make a forest in a box, I believe.
Yeah, this is one of our forest in the box. We're doing, in the Easter holidays, we're running lots and lots of different workshops. This is one of the workshops that I'm running at the Ashcroft, geared towards a forest in a box, but it's very Easter orientated. We're going to have like chicks, rabbits, that the young people will come spend all day with us, using lots of different craft materials, lots of different things, lots of papier-mâché. We've got Mod Rock here, which we use to make the eggs.
Now, this looks quite interesting. How would you go about doing, starting off with something like this?
Well, this is literally, this was an old shoebox that we had lying around the house. And I've used crushed up newspaper behind, covered in brown, again, the sticky gum tape.
Okay, yep.
You let it dry, paint it. I did use acrylic paints because I'm an artist and I have them in the house, but you could use any kind of paint you've got around the house, really, even just sort of, you know, the cheapest of paints will do.
Okay.
I painted it and then I just literally made loads and loads of eggs using newspaper, again recycling, scrunched up. You have to wet the gum tape, but as long as it's not too wet, it will stick really well. So you're literally covering it till it's really tight. It will dry probably in a day or two, then you can just paint them. Hang them on your tree. It's ever so easy.
And this is where you can sort of get creative and do whatever you want as well. You can personalise this, can't you?
Yeah, you can do it any time of the year as well. You could do a rainforest in a box. It doesn't have to be an Easter one. It's just obviously because we're doing an Easter theme.
Whatever you want. Now, this workshop's going on the 3rd of April, isn't it? Now, what sort of ages would you say this is? This workshop
it's year reception to year 6. So you're talking sort of 5-year-olds up to 11-year-olds. So right across the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you do? Any other these other sort of workshops or anything? Maybe not for kids, maybe for adults, maybe for some of our grown-ups or some classes.
I want to do a class.
Yeah, I'll tell you, you'd love it. Come along, you'd love it. I run the art class on a Friday morning at the Ashcroft, and I've got about 16 adults who come along, and we cover all things from sort of portraiture, looking at light and shade and tone, and it's a proper art class. We cover all aspects of different mediums. We do life drawing, figure drawing, that kind of thing.
Can you be a beginner, or do you have to?
Yeah, you can, and I think that's tonight. It's called All About Art. We decided to call it All About Art so it would cover from beginners to, I mean, I have some people in the class who are exceptional artists, but we have people in the class who are quite nervous about their art. So it's a very open class. It's very chilled. We have music playing, and it's just lovely.
Brilliant stuff.
Yeah,
it does look fantastic,
so cute,
doesn't it? It does look absolutely fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming in. It's been wonderful having you here. We've had seeing lots of creative things. I'm getting ideas myself.
Have a practice later. So if you'd be interested in taking your children along to any of Julie's workshops, you can book yours now at the website at the bottom of your screen.
And that's it for part 2, but join us again in part 3 when Alina and I will be going head to head in the Sea and South Bake Off and hunting the studio for Easter eggs.